Welcome back to the Digital Power Workshop for another time-lapse Thursday. This is where I have sped up the video of a project I've been working on, and I give commentary and occasional rabbit trails. And today's video will be covering me remaking the robot hand that I did about a year ago in Blender. And of course, about a year ago, it took me, well, according to the video, I have over 4.5 hours of video, which probably meant I took even longer because there's a lot of stuff I had to figure out. But this time around, it kind of went fast. It took me a little over 2 hours to do it. So without any further ado, let's log on in. So like I said, this took me a little over 2 hours to remake this, and so let's go ahead and hit play and we can go through how I made this hand. Just simply brought a new cube in here. And one of the things reason I want to remake it is because when I brought it into, when I imported it into my transformers I was working on, the hand looked too skeletal, too small, too thin. So this time I kind of want to make everything a little bit more thicker. Now, of course, I used the separate tool to separate the cube after I got done getting it all in the shape I want, and now I added some bevels, trying to give a slight robotic, futuristic look, so I don't have all the hard edges. I kind of probably should have done them last because later on when I go to do the hinge joint for the wrist, they got in the way. And of course, going to make the one for the thumb joint. Now, I went and do a little bit more detail on trying to get some of the stuff to make it a bit more usable compared to my last hand. And I really do need to sit here, and when I create these hinges, I do need to just have a file of a bunch of hinges because I tend to use these a lot in robotics, just doing a hinge. But yeah, the bridge tool, did I use the boolean or did I just extrude? I can't remember. Yeah, I used the boolean there. It'll save a whole lot of time. And one of the things, yeah, this time I put the hinge on the bottom instead of the top. Yeah, you gotta flip faces. For some reason, when I duplicate and then I mirror, it flips some of the faces. Now, the purpose of this cube here, you can see in a moment, is it's going to help me create the space in the hand instead of the old way I would have done loop cuts and then extrude, and this time I'm just using the boolean to create the space. And of course, then I duplicate that so I can bring it down because I'm going to end up reusing that hinge instead of having to recreate it. This is why I need to actually create me a file of hinges. Every hinge that I create, every time I create a new hinge, I need to put it in that file. That way I can have it all to pick from. Now, I did use the boolean to join the part of the hinge that connects to the hand to make it all one piece instead of having to recreate it. The old way I used to do is I used to have to join and then merge all the points after creating loop cuts to give edges to. And I'm repeating the process here for the part of the hand that sticks out for the thumb. Probably what I should have done was actually just get a skeletal human hand and then try to model off of that. And I might do that in the future to see if I can improve on this even more. Oh yeah, this is one thing about the boolean. I come to find out I didn't realize that when I created it, it actually created part of the object within the other. So go in and try to clean up some of my mesh work. I do need to figure out, there is a way, especially when I was working with the thumb, since it's at a different angle, and I need to remember and look up what that way was, is how you can actually turn the object where it's facing you directly so you can work with better. Now getting ready to do the fingers here. I don't know why, I must have not selected something correctly when it created that interesting little divot in the hinge. And I went ahead and created all the three joints of the finger and I'm making them all at the same time. Here after I joined, I used the fill tool because I had that way we just set that way all I do is had to fill in. For some reason, I don't know why I have to look at it, but for some reason some of the vertices were not joined correctly. And this was before, and I kind of learned about it, but there's a way you can actually go in and cause all the vertices that are close together to automatically merge. And I have to go look that back up. Kind of reduce some of the length. I said, alright, there was two that weren't joined together. I got to go through clean up because once I get this finger the way I want, I can kind of duplicate it. Now I'm getting ready to do this is what I didn't, one of the things I didn't do the original. I did not put this hinge here. And so I didn't have the ability to have my finger be able to waggle back and forth like, Yeah, have Optimus Prime doing that, Yeah, that'd be funny. Now here is basically some merging. I probably could have done it a different way. One reason I didn't necessarily bridge, and I probably could have done bridge, it'd probably been easier, was because some of the vertices didn't all line up. Now I did the same thing like I did with the other hinges. I created a shape that's slightly larger than the actual hinge I need, and it's to when I go to create the cavity for the finger to sit in, and create the top of the finger to cover up the knuckles, what's their version of knuckles, give a little bit of a bevel to try to give it more of that robotic, futuristic robotic look. I don't know what it is about the sci-fi stuff. Oh, now I'm going to go through and make sure all my origin points are lined up. Trust me, you want to make sure your origin points are lined up before you go parenting. Move some of the stuff around, trying to clean up some things. I probably need to go back and re-look on some stuff to see why some things turn out the way it is. Okay, now we're duplicating everything. Trying to make sure that we get. And one of the things is all the fingers are a different length, and so I kind of try to reduce the size of some of them to give that appearance. Of course, I could have just left it all the same length, but then it'd be kind of a looking weird hand. I imagine Mother Nature made them different lengths for a reason. And of course, now here of the thumb, I had to take out one of the joints because actually I made the third joint earlier. And sitting there just going through, save that in case I ever needed it again. Now here I'm going to use this to create the, I don't know if it's called a rod or a piston. I don't know, I don't think it's a piston. It's a pole or a rod that the hinge swings on. It's probably one of the two. I don't know the actual technical term. But go ahead and create this, add it in. Use the Boolean tool to help create the shape within it as part of the actual palm. Go ahead and create the little cavities and put that in. So now if you ever have to look at that part of the hand, it kind of looks like, you can see the joint. And of course, like most things, you can always run the wires inside the joint. Kind of like on your fridge. When your fridge has got that control panel on the front, they run it through the hinge joint. Now here is where I'm getting ready to make the wrist, and as you can kind of see a little bit, can't get it quite the center the way I want it because of the bevel tool. And I didn't think about going in and cleaning out the bevel tool because I was trying to do all this in one sitting. And so now, now here I'm going to actually try to create a little bit of a decorative joint on the hinge instead of just having just plain. And I went through all the fingers and I did that. I kind of wish I did the fingers beforehand before I did this. Okay, so now here I'm trying to create the other part of the wrist joint because your wrist doesn't just go up and down; it can go back and forth. So you can almost do like a 360 rotation ish with your hand. Not that the hand actually can rotate 363, but you can kind of spin it a little bit like a fan in that way. Kind of clean up everything so I can just use the fill tool to merge some stuff. Now, at the top I had to do a little differently because of the how many vertices make the covering for the wrist. Only reason I didn't go too far forward with it is because partly I need to be able to have my hand go up and down, because your hand can kind of go up, not quite 90, but close to 90 degrees. Same thing down. Well, it looks at least at about 90. But so that's why I didn't do that part. And I just needed the inside wide enough for it to go side to side, which your hand kind of only goes like 45 degrees to each side. And then go ahead and give this a little bit of a bevel. I don't know, I kind of like the way my old one looked a little bit. But then I didn't know how to do some stuff, and so I just had to improvise. Now I'm trying to make sure this is lined up pretty well centered. Now I didn't actually record this part of the video, but this is actually the final one for the actual hand that I'm using. This isn't the final one for the hand. I believe it's, let me see if I can spot it right quick. It's probably one of these two. Is that the original? Yeah, this is the, yeah, this was the final one from the video, as you can see. I want to make sure that was centered that way with this. That way, when this rotates, it will rotate all of it. Because I did parent these. Nope, I didn't parent this one. I think I parent the other one. Let's go back to the one. Don't save. This one I believe I parented. So I click here. Yeah, as you can see, I grab. As you can tell, I got the bottom. Because I got a camera. This is what I kind of use to take a picture, so I can export it and use and stuff. And as you can see, I gave the joints all a kind of a glowing light. Let's turn this on so you can kind of see how it's all glowing with the render ends, and so the joints glow with energy. It was just something fun to do. And I gave a kind of a, I don't know what you call that part of the knuckle at the base of the finger, I guess. I gave them a little raised. But we can kind of go through and see. I kind of like the way it turned out a little bit better than my last one. I'm kind of not really liking the bevel here in the center. And I think it's because it makes these two fingers stick out too far from each other. What I may end up doing is just doing a slight bevel on the bottom next time, so that it can, so when this, to go along with this hinge joint, so you can kind of, because your hand can kind of, when you go to touch your pinky with your thumb, your hand kind of can close a little bit. I don't know if I can do that with this hand. I think I probably need to, like I said, I need to probably do this skeletal next time I want to make a robot hand and kind of make it a little bit more human accurate. I have yet to import this into any of my transformers to see if it actually looks better than my previous one, but I'm slowly getting better at creating the mechanics, thinking about how things work, where things work. That's the only thing about doing something like this. If you don't have something really to base it on, I could probably have based it on some toys, which is a very simplistic, but I'm trying to make a robotic hand that works very close and very similar to a human, based on the part of materials that would be used. Because if you used to like to print this out in a 3D printer, on a 3D printer, that you'll have to deal with real world physics. And yes, I tend to make things more overcomplicated than probably what I need to be for doing animation, but it's fun doing all these problem solving stuff. And feel free to go check my old time-lapse video of me creating a robot hand about a year ago. That way you can kind of compare and see how much I have improved in Blender and some of the process and different techniques I used in both videos, from the time I didn't know much to the time I know just a little bit more. And if you like my content, you can go to these websites right here to support me in different ways, as well as like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think might find it interesting. And if you're interested in learning Blender, you can always check out my Blender tutorial list. But the next video I recommend you may want to see, if you want to learn some of the techniques I used in this video, check out my video, 5 Ways to Duplicate in Blender. Have a nice day.